What does Cheltenham actually mean to you? You've done so fantastically well. Is it the be-all and end-all for you when every horse walks into Seven Barrows? Is that the aim, to win at Cheltenham?
No, but it's the owner's aim, isn't it? I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you buy an unbroken 3-year-old, and yeah, but which race is it going to run in at Cheltenham? Of course it is. It's like Royal Ascot. It is the pinnacle.
Is it too big, do you think?
You can't say it's too big. It's a bit top-heavy, perhaps, for the whole season. It's only a victim of its own success, really, isn't it? And as I say, there are certain members of the press room that say it's too top-heavy, but who makes it top-heavy?
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything, but on the other hand, you know, we are doing these things every day. We're doing Cheltenham previews every night. It's the only good thing that's come out of COVID is that we now have to do Cheltenham previews on Zoom here. And the great thing is we're not having to go to London every other night to do this and that and that. We could do it. But the only good thing I can say about COVID, I must admit.
Behind you, Nicky, Epatante is just coming past. That was good. Well timed, Sophie. Sophie Candy rides her every day. What's the latest on her?
Well, she's good. She worked very well yesterday. All in good form. I mean, yes, that was disappointing at Christmas. The way she'd won the Fighting Fifth, it looked as she ought to have won on the Christmas hurdle. To be fair, some of ours weren't running just that well at the time. I'm not making too many excuses. Silver Streak was very good. He went off a really good gallop. We never looked like getting to him. But she looked very, very good at Newcastle. And I think, you know, we've got to be happy that we're back where she was then.
Right, we just saw her as well. We just saw Shishkin walk past. Nothing could have gone better for him. I mean, he's just been fantastic, the transition to chasing.
Well, he has. I mean, he had a very good year as a novice, and he won the Supreme, and I think that was a good performance because he did, to all intents and purposes, get taken out of the race after the second last, and to come back from the car park to the racecourse and then have to get through all the traffic again was a pretty sound performance. He's had 3 runs over fences. You know, you'd have to say he got 10 out of 10 on each occasion. Yeah. He's growing up all the time, I think. You know, he probably still isn't the finished article, but he's a very amenable horse. You know, he doesn't. He's pretty easy from our point of view.
Is he as good a novice as you've ever had?
Well, I think that would be hard because then you're having to compare him with Sprinter Sacres and Altiors and everything like that. We've just been incredibly lucky that Sprinter Sacre happened to find his way here, and he was the ultimate, really. And yet, as soon as he retired, Altior was ready to take his position at the top of the 2 Mile Brigade. And Altior hopefully isn't finished yet, but Shishkin is coming on as our next Arkle contender. If he can do this, then he goes down. He continues down the route behind Altior, but.
It's a big first day, isn't it?
It is, but you need it. Sadly, we've got nothing in the Supreme this year. There's nothing better than if you can go and win the Supreme, then the pressure's off for the week. You can start to think about enjoying it. I mean, it's going to be a bizarre feeling, isn't it? Being there, sadly, with no owners. But I think they've all done brilliantly to. You know, we've kept racing going and we've got the festival on. Now, the big question, who was brave enough to suggest cheap pieces for Altior? Nico and I did. It was obvious that just in his races, and particularly after Kempton, he wasn't as sharp as he normally would be. And he just needed something to just sharpen him up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him, and they have. He's probably lost a yard or 2 of his pace.
No, it's not as if he's a rogue or, you know,
no,
that's what.
Not at all.
No, that's.
Nah, he's as honest as the day is long. When he'd won 19 out of 19, you got to be special, haven't you? It was just a pity that things have gone a little bit pear-shaped since then. It's funny, that Kempton race, because actually the third horse, if we'd have beaten that, the 6 or 7 lengths, whatever we did beat it, you'd have said, oh, that was a good performance. But unfortunately, we got beaten at the same time, and that was, you know, it certainly made us prick our ears into the, right, we've got to do something about it, and cheek pieces were the thing that we have done about it. And I've no doubt he'd be better around Cheltenham than probably around Kempton these days anyway.
Right, the other surprising thing, I picked up my paper, Champ going for game spirit, and I thought, what on earth happening here? You know, was it a long lunch? I mean, what's happened? But it turned out, I mean, your head was on the chopping block rather, but it turned out to be a stroke of genius.
About genius, it was a bit
well,
when we decided not to run Altior, then I was talking with JP regularly, and Champ hadn't run since last year's RSA. No. So it was his first run of the season, and I think he's not a slow horse at home, but he's certainly not a 2-miler at home. But he'd been quite good over hurdles. So we plumped for going this route. It could have misfired, yes. You know, we have lit him up. Now what he has to do is go back into 3¼ mile mode. A good pace will help him settle early on. But obviously, you know, Nico bounced him out at Newbury because he had to be sharp down to the first. Otherwise, it was all going to be happening too quick. But in fact, he was nearly dictating it really, rather than being dictated to. This time, as I say, we're going to have to ride him much more conservatively.
It seems bad to me. I mentioned Champ before. Santini, of course, ran such a brilliant race last year, but he's getting harder to predict, Santini, isn't he?
Well, I don't think things have gone terribly lucky for him. I mean, we started at Aintree in a ridiculous race for the Many Clouds when they took all the fences out because it was a sort of a bending race up the straight, and he actually ran a fantastic race.
He did, yeah.
He actually finished in front of Frodon, and I said, look, I think we supplemented him for the King George just to give him a run, and sure, he was outpaced down the back straight the last time, and he stayed on well. Then the Cotswold chase, well, that got moved from Cheltenham to Sandown, was in horrific ground. And that's not his scene either. So it's not really his fault. He's come in on, without winning a race this year. It's not his fault.
No, okay.
It was just that's the way the season's panned out. I wouldn't be knocking Santini on that. He's got to be sharp. But again, you're going to get a good gallop. Stamina is going to be essential. We know he's got that in abundance. And he was very good round there last year. Just nice ground would be perfect.
Mr. Fisher is the Harvey banker from Seven Barrows. Is that am I right or wrong?
Well, he's got a bit of class. He's got experience. He's got good experience now. And he was 4th in the novice chase last year, and then
unlucky is what I thought.
The Peterborough chase got moved to Cheltenham, which he won before Christmas, which was great. I thought that was a good performance. He and Altior are very good together, so they've had an away day together. They both schooled and jumped and galloped, and everything went very well. You know, Fisher he's in very good form. He is a very good, he's a very good workhorse. 2.5 would appear to be his trip. I'm trying him over 3 at some stage next year on a sort of flat track anyway.
Right, let's just go a couple of novices. Chantry House back on track. We had that disappointing effort, but he's back.
Well, he and Fusey Raffles will run in the 2.5 mile novice chase, and yeah, he is. First run at Ascot, great.
Yeah.
Second run at Cheltenham, terrible.
Yeah.
Luckily, Fusey Raffles was in the race, so he wins it. Chantry House, his jumping fell to pieces. Now, we had a problem with found a problem with his back. He actually had some back surgery for basically kissing spines. And he did very well, because that was only 8 weeks after the surgery that actually he went to Wetherby, and he was back to himself again.
He looked happy, didn't he?
Oh, fantastic. I was thrilled with him. And we have the one problem about running in this race is Envoy Allen. It's going to be tough, but I would be disappointed if Chantry House can't give Envoy Allen some sort of a race.
A bit like Altior, I think you've changed over the years. You seem remarkably calm.
Well, I think it's funny because it hasn't been the same sort of build up to it as it normally has been, because We haven't had multiple press days, and we've been doing lots of talking and all that, and it's all good. But it's going to be a different meeting. You somehow feel it hasn't got. Of course, it's got the same buzz from as far as we're concerned, but you do get the feeling with the build-up has been slightly different. So maybe we are a bit more relaxed about it. You're not going to get stuck in a traffic jam going there anyway.